Do you remember Not and Scorp? I do.
When I say minicon, you probably think of something like this guy right here. I don't know who this is, but I think it came with Universe Quick Mix. And this is what a lot of people think of whenever I talk about minicons or I mention minicons. They think of these guys from either Armada or Cybertron. But the minicons I actually have the most fondness for are these ones. These are the ones from Power Core Combiner, which I did a video on Power Core Combiner a while back. But yeah, I want to talk about minicons and kind of the different iterations of them, and I figured why not start right here in what I consider the purest forms. So, our first minicons are obviously from Transformers Armada, Cybertron, the Unicron trilogy, and they had these kinds of ports, which are like minicon posts, and these were featured on bigger figures, while all the other minicons, like the actual minicons, had these ports, and these are to plug onto those things. So let's, for example, grab Smolder here. So Smolder can have his minicon port right there, and you can take this one and plug it on there. And on a lot of the older ones, this would activate like an action figure or an action feature, but on these guys, it kind of just is a decoration. We'll talk about the Power Core ones in just a moment. But the super fun thing about these guys is that they are kind of full-fledged Transformers. Like, you can rotate them and then get them into their own little robot modes. Like, that was a lot of fun. And there were even minicon teams that could combine into things, such as the Armada Perceptor I reviewed a while back. And yeah, they were a lot of fun, and a lot of people had a lot of nostalgia for them. So it's no surprise that come 2010, 2009, they decided to bring them back. This time in almost exclusively clear plastic with some deco changes and a few exceptions to that rule. And now, instead of turning into vehicles, these things are like quad changers. So let's talk about these three right here. We'll start with Smolder's, which Smolder's weapon minicon has a weapon mode, a armor mode, a robot mode, and a vehicle weapon mode. So here in robot weapon mode, you can see it's kind of an axe, and you can put it in Smolder's hand, and that's pretty good. I like that a lot. Then armor mode is effectively the same thing. You're just taking this, putting it on his chest, and kind of spreading these out like that. So not very... Huh. Maybe we fix that a little bit. Man, I don't know. Does that make it worse? I don't know. But armor mode, maybe... Ooh, Smolder. Not a great armor mode. And then, of course, we get robot mode, which is just a little guy. Really like this. Very reminiscent. But this time, these minicons featured ball joints, so they actually had quite a bit more range and at least a little bit more universal articulation than the older ones. And then, of course, this one's vehicle weapon mode, I believe, is something along the lines of, like, pointing all the barrels forward, and then, like, this comes up like so. And then this is, like, the vehicle weapon mode, something like that. And it goes on the back of the fire truck. It's kind of neat. It's not the greatest. Kind of sucks. But yeah, this one was a lot of fun. But there are some stinkers. I think this one was pretty okay, aside from that armor mode. Let's move Smolder out of the way. Then we get some, like, undertows here, which I think this is Waterlog. And Waterlog is so good. It actually even looks like its own little vehicle. But this is effectively the armor mode and the vehicle weapon mode. And then the actual weapon mode, you just lift these up, fold these up, and we can pop it into Smolder's hand. And there's the weapon mode there. And then, if you want the robot mode, you just fold these out, straighten out the legs, and bam! And this one is really good. Has more than 90 at the knees, ball jointed hips, ball jointed shoulders, and it can even turn at the head. That's crazy. A neck joint on a minicon. Yeah, this one was really cool, and it also still fits that undertow theme where it has the scuba gear. Gosh, these ones were so much fun. And same with Smolder's minicon, where it turns into a fire axe for the fire truck guy. And I'm talking about Smolder a lot. He's just really cool. Then we get this one. This is Searchlight's minicon, and I forget his name. But his weapon mode is effectively just like this, where you put the minicon peg on the side of the foot, and you just kind of plug it in. Yeah, you just kind of put it in the hand, and there we go. Like, and then his armor mode is almost equally as silly because he has two different ones. He has the one where it's a pretty normal armor mode and it goes like this, and then it just kind of tabs on. But then I believe there was an alternate like repaint of this guy where he was like clinging on to the torso and it kind of just looked like he wanted a hug, and that was pretty fun. But yeah, and then this guy has elbows, knees, hips, shoulders, like just all the articulation you could possibly want out of a little guy like this. So those were a lot of fun. I really like the Power Core ones. Obviously, there's some flaws here. Like, some of them do have solid torsos with solid ball joint running through them. And I think that ones like this will hold up. I do think that there's a little bit of potential for the ball joint sockets to crack, but I think you'll be okay generally. And then you have ones like this, which I still think are okay, where it's the ball joint socket on the solid plastic, or the clear ball joint on solid plastic sockets. I actually think this is the better setup because I think there's less chance of things breaking as long as the joint isn't too tight. But that doesn't mean that I'm not still worried. I do worry about these guys, especially because Power Core in general is a very, very fragile toy line. But kind of after these guys, we haven't really seen minicons outside of those specialty packs, like the Nemesis and the Armada Hotshot pack. But that doesn't mean minicons went away. In War for Cybertron, we ended up getting these, the Micromasters. And Micromasters were really interesting because, while, yeah, they are a G1 concept, these ones featured 5mm ports, compatible ports, and 5mm compatible pegs, and not only had vehicle modes, so we can get Big Daddy here, or Daddy-O, whatever they changed his name to, and he can be his own little vehicle, which is fun. You already saw his robot mode, but then you can also flip this out, rotate it, fold out this peg, and let's grab a War for Cybertron guy here. I guess the Legacy Prime in this. And you can make it a blaster. These are blast effect compatible things. And sure, yeah, it's not a very convincing blaster, but like it can do it. And then, even more so, if the guy has like 5mm compatible ports, like we'll grab Smolder again, because these, guess what, are 5mm. You can totally mount them on there. So like things like Cybertron Metroplex or Cybertron Hotshot or the Armada guys can accept Micromasters as if they're minicons slapped onto the figure. It's really interesting, and I think minicons kind of survive through this. But we also got these. Again, not quite totally minicons. These are the Titan Master figures from Titan's Return, obviously. And they had this little Titan Master guy who could store in a beast mode on any of them, and then they were able to transform into a vehicle mode like this, where the Titan Master could pilot it. That's kind of fun, you know, a little tank. Or, once again, you can store them, like so. Fold this down, fold that out, flip this up, and now it's a blaster. And we can, once again, bring in Toy Prime here. And there we go. So, again, kind of minicon-esque. Not quite, a little bit more involved than your average minicon, but I think the vibe is there. So, and now, with Star Convoy coming out, and having just released, we got a this is supposedly a Micromaster compared to the other one. This one's huge. This is like a full-on core class. And yeah, not quite a Micromaster. It doesn't really do anything else the other Micromasters do, but I figured I should mention it because it did just release, and if I don't mention it, someone will. But yeah, a little interesting there. So, again, not a Micromaster. This is way closer to a core class. Like, even if I bring in Smolder, he's almost the same size as Smolder is. But yeah, that's kind of like a quick look on, like, not maybe the evolution of minicons. I know we are seeing them with Transformers Age of the Prime and just getting out of Legacy and whatnot. So it is really cool to see this gimmick coming back, especially because I've been revisiting Power Core Combiners and quite enjoying it and all the things that they can do. So to see minicons coming back, despite the fact that Hasbro thinks that they're apparently worth like $40 as a 3-pack, that's a little crazy to me. But yeah, really, really liking these guys. And I kind of wanted to share this off with you. So yeah, let me know what you think about minicons below. Let me know what your favorite minicon is down below, and let me know if there's a gimmick that's similar to this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been Bots Obsession.